The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Today, the day after the kangaroo court verdict in New York, and it is the first day of the post-conviction pathway to the presidency for Donald Trump, and it's good news. Today is a good day. The radical left have overplayed their hand. Tragedy, adversity, challenge. That's what we're in the midst of. But we also know as conservatives that in the midst of tragedy, adversity, and challenge, there are blessings waiting to be born. And ladies and gentlemen, we see multiple blessings on the horizon precisely because of what happened with this verdict out of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and His divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thanks for watching us from around the Republic and around the world. We appreciate you very much. DougBillings.us. That's where you can go support me and the show. DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. Look for the donate and support tab at the top of that webpage and consider offering a recurring monthly donation. Don't worry. Don't worry. I know that yesterday we all went to bed with a lump in our stomachs, but today is the first day of our post-conviction pathway to the presidency, ladies and gentlemen. No need to be worried. Now, remember, I've said all along that this is a win-win situation for President Trump. No matter what happens in these lower courts, the appeals process will bode very well for President Trump, and he will prevail in all of them, including the one that we had yesterday. So a few reminders and gentle suggestions before I get in really to the meat and potatoes of the show today. It is interesting, I think, to look at the date yesterday. President Trump was found guilty on the feast day of St. Joan of Arc, who was the patroness of prisoners and patriots. Accidental? Coincidental? I don't know. You be the judge. But it is interesting. And as we look back upon characters of history, significant characters in history, it's also interesting to note that there have been many people throughout history who have risen up against tyrannical governments. Risen up, although they didn't call it the deep state back in throughout history like we do today. They didn't call it the swamp, but that's what they were fighting against, these people of history. Tyranny, the swamp, deep state, in their own time and in their own way. And a lot of these people, many of them who fought against tyrannical governments, became presidents, world leaders, and saints. Mahatma Gandhi was absolutely one of the ones who, in the last century, rose to political power because of his fight against tyranny. Nelson Mandela, Lech Walesa, Joan of Arc, mentioned her already. Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen, fighting against tyranny within his day and the victim of a sham trial and a conviction. And then we have Donald Trump. Now, I'm not comparing Donald Trump to Jesus Christ or Joan of Arc or any of these others. I'm just simply saying that all of them have in common the fact they faced sham trials. And as a result of that, their popularity skyrocketed amongst the people. All of them convicted because of their reforms and how they uncovered the threat of tyranny. And they were punished and convicted because tyrants did not want to surrender their power. And much like all of those people in history, President Trump enjoys massive popular support of the patriot class within the United States. And more people, because of what he's going through, are coming over to the conservative side, to his side. The patriot class is growing in America. And this is thanks, obviously, to President Trump. It now includes this patriot class. It now includes almost every minority demographic within our nation. It's growing numbers among wealthy liberals as well as blue-collared workers. Every demographic growing in support for President Trump. There are record numbers of former liberals leaving the radical left Commune Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, and coming over to the Republican Party, precisely because of what we saw yesterday. There's Sean McGuire. You look him up on Twitter or in social media. Sean McGuire, a billionaire, former liberal, posted on his X account yesterday that after the verdict came out in New York, Sean McGuire, a once professed radical liberal, posted that he had just donated $300,000 to the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign set records for fundraising immediately following the verdict. And within 6 hours, $34 million raised, an all-time record in the era of political fundraising. And you're going to see, now these liberals, they're dividing into two camps out there. In the one camp, you have the intellectually immature liberal camp. They're the same blowhard, partisan idiots that are celebrating these temporary guilty verdicts. Keyword temporary. The radical left, intellectually immature, stupid jackwagon group that they are, they're enjoying the day, they're enjoying the moment, and they're all about celebrating guilt and celebrating their own intellectual immaturity because they don't realize, or at least they don't publicly admit, that what is really the truth is recognized by the second group of liberals who are displaying themselves today. The second group of liberals are, in fact, intellectually mature. They're not stupid. They are realizing that all of this will be overturned. They also realize that in the other cases President Trump is facing, not just this one that was handed down yesterday in New York, but all of them will result in Trump being acquitted. Even if he's found guilty in a lower court, he will prevail in the appellate process. And these intellectually mature, smart liberals are remaining quiet about this. And that's because they know this is their 15 minutes of fame, if you will, right? It's all going to pass. It's all going to blow over, and justice will be righted. So the second group of liberals not saying very much on social media. The other group, obviously, in full frontal display of their intellectual immaturity. The quiet group, realizing that their intellectually immature colleagues on the left who have posted these celebratory comments and the derogatory comments, calling Trump a felon and this and that and the other thing, they realize that these are temporary, the quiet group. And the other folks are going to have to eat their words. And make sure you're bookmarking and keeping their posts so that when these charges are reversed, we can remind them of that. So a lot of good news comes out of this. I know the American justice system is in turmoil, and yeah, the flags are flying upside down today, aren't they? Right, and as they should be. But I'm here to tell you, and again, I'll get into this in some detail. We conservatives understand that through adversity, challenge, and tragedy, blessings are waiting to be born. More on that, and specifically about the hope that we now see in the Republic. I'll be right back after these messages, but I also want to remind you, DougBillings.us is where I need you to go, folks. DougBillings.us at the top of the website. Look for the donate button and consider a monthly recurring donation to support this program so we can continue not only to get real, true hope and news out to you, but that we can combat what the radical left liberal mob is doing to this country. I appreciate it. I'll be right back. God bless you. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older, and it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. liveyoungerwithdoug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372. And get over to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great, and so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Right Side with Doug Billings, where it's abundantly clear, isn't it, today? Liberals are, in fact, intellectually immature. Now, the steps from here today, the day after the verdict, right? The first day of the rest of our way towards the White House with President Trump. President Trump is going to appeal. Absolutely a given. And even the appeals process in New York is suspect. I understand. I don't have a lot of faith in New York courts at all. So the appeals process, we still have to kind of just wait and see. Usually, appeals courts are smarter and much more constitutionally based than the lower courts are in this country. That's true throughout the Republic. But we'll see what happens in the appellate court process. Now, remember, fine, the appellate court in New York might not be totally in line with what we as conservatives see as constitutionally based remedies to judicial issues, but it's the first step that we have to take. We have to go through this appeals process. If the New York appeals court uphold these convictions, President Trump will appeal that decision, all right, to a higher court ranking just below the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, at that point, you've got to think, as I do, that the case will likely get overturned. If it doesn't happen at the first appeal process, it'll happen at the second. But even if it's not, ladies and gentlemen, even if he goes through two of the lower court appeals processes and he's still facing these convictions, he does then have the option to go to the Supreme Court. Now, I know a lot of you out there asking the question, well, why can't they? And I don't blame you. I don't blame you for asking this question. Why can't they expedite this right to the Supreme Court itself? Well, it's not completely without precedent to do that. But if I were a betting man, and again, just my opinion, and you have the benefit of hearing an opinion that's often proven to be rooted in correct analysis of the situation. Thank you very much. The Supreme Court may take it up faster. That's certainly their prerogative, but I wouldn't count on that. I would bet that the Supreme Court wants to see what these appellate courts are going to do, what they're going to rule. And it's a process that we just have to bear with. Look, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. The American judicial system is not meant, and it's not designed to be expeditious. It's meant to be slow, methodical, and purposeful. Okay, so that's it's a point of contention for some people, but we have to give ourselves permission to hold on to the blessing of patience with regards. And I know, hard to say, right after these last 4 years that we've been through, hard to say that you should be patient because a lot of us are so fed up. But again, in perspective, in the grand scheme of the history of this country, The last 4 to 6 years is a blink of an eye in regards to how we've got here. Right? The radical left, reminding you, have been activists and have been hitting their local levels of government at their county level, getting involved, running for office, and so forth and so on for the last 126 years. And we conservatives have not been doing that. So we've got some catching up to do. Now, I'm not suggesting it's going to take us 126 years to fix it, but we've got to give ourselves patience to let this process run through the appeals process. And the judicial system in this country is not meant, and I think rightly so, it's not meant to be fast. We want this to be thorough. We want this to be judicious. We want this to be thoughtful. So hang in there. Hang in there. Trump will prevail. That's what you need to know. He will prevail. If the case does reach the Supreme Court, I think all of us are certain at that point Trump will, I mean, he's going to prevail. And it might even be a majority rule. Because let me say this about what happened in New York. It's almost as if the judge, Merchant, was so radically wrong in his approach that he wanted this thing to become subject to appeal. I might be crazy, can't prove that that's true, and I'm not suggesting it is, but he was so, this judge is so corrupt and did so many things that were wrong and that were not, I think, viewed by most legal scholars as appropriate, that it's going to be an easy win in the appeals process. So, and that's why the radical liberal commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, wants to try and stack and diminish the Supreme Court of the United States, because they don't want the Supreme Court to stand in the way of their liberal, radical, immoral agenda. Ever. They don't want anything in their way. Not just with the President Trump situation. They want to get rid of the Supreme Court for everything that they have on their plate, both now and in the future. They feel the same way about the Electoral College. Once we start getting closer and closer to Election Day, talk about the election, the Electoral College will begin to accelerate. Once we get closer to Election Day, they're going to be talking about eliminating the most brilliant representational voting mechanism in the history of mankind. And you can count on that. It'll begin to dominate the news cycle. Stacking, if not getting rid of the Supreme Court and eliminating the Electoral College. You know this to be the case. And I admit and I understand that yesterday was a dark day and a kick in the gut to America and to American justice. I understand that. All of us who have any sense of patriotism, who have any sense of love of our country, any of us who have an understanding of the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers, went to bed last night with a knot in our stomachs. But I'm also here to tell you that what happened yesterday will, in the long run, prove to be one of the most beneficial days within the history of our republic, precisely because of the tyranny that we all saw come down. Precisely because of the events of yesterday have awakened the disciplined and determined call of patriots throughout this republic. And indeed, you'll see that it's awakening people around the planet. The events of yesterday have turned President Trump into a political martyr and have solidified not only his candidacy within the Republican Party, but his presidency of the United States. The events of yesterday have awakened patriots to the truth, and we still have a lot of work to do, ladies and gentlemen. We must secure our elections. We must make sure that we diminish, if not eliminate, the attempt of cheating and further election interference. We've got to get rid of the machines. Multiple hundreds of millions of people are awakened because of yesterday. Multiple hundreds of millions of people are awakened because of what's happened in America over the last 4 years. And that's playing to our advantage. The events of yesterday have proven to me, and I hope to all of you, that the largest existential threat to the radical left communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is you. Look how you rose up yesterday, calling in and donating online to the Trump campaign fund. How you spoke out on social media, how you are getting involved in your local level. The events of yesterday have proven that President Trump is the radical left's enemy number one. The events of yesterday have proven that the radical left understand that they can't separate you from President Trump. The events of yesterday have proven that the radical left can't separate you from the MAGA movement. The Make America Great Again movement is a real, substantial rebranding of the Republican conservative movement, and we owe it to President Trump. And the radical left must stop Trump in order to stop you. But you are not going to let that happen. Much more to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're fired up. DougBillings.us. That's where I need you to go, please. DougBillings.us. Find the support tab at the top of the page. Monthly recurring donations was what we're seeking. I'll be right back with hope and with the way forward for you, for the country, and President Trump. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Right Side with Doug Billings, expressing views from the side of life, liberty, and truth and honor right here on the program, coming to you from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain. Ladies and gentlemen, you stand in the way of the radical left. They know this, and they know that President Trump represents you. They know that President Trump has reformed and refashioned and rebranded the Republican conservative movement in America, and it stands in direct opposition to their globalist and tyrannical, immoral agendas. They understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you cannot be separated from the patriotism and the exceptionalism that was inspired by God and envisioned by our founding fathers. You represent honor, constitutional duty, love of country, the love of the founders, and you represent God's intent for this republic. You do. And President Trump is the symbol of you. All of these virtues, all of these ideals are on the right side. They are in God's hand. In fact, what we're seeing, is God's hand in action. And it's not often that you get to see it happen so visibly and so noticeably within the fabric of not only the lives of the people of this republic, but within the passions of the conservative, godly movement that we see awakening all around us. That's the hand of God sweeping across the mountains and the hills, the fruited plain. It really is. But don't let you become complacent. As I said, we've got a lot of work to do. And what happened with the verdicts being announced in New York City has awakened even more patriots and converted even more liberals to our conservative MAGA movement. Billionaires donating from the left, sick and tired of what they're seeing. You'll notice that you see the handful of liberals. You see the Robert De Niros of the world, right? The jackwagon idiots out there who speak up because they're paid by the left and who just go out and bloviate and spew forth all sorts of nonsense. You see these very few people. They are the minority. Think of the celebrity class for a moment. Look at the kooks. You see them. Robert De Niro, one of the kings of the kook community, ladies and gentlemen. But also look how many people remain silent because they are the majority. There is abundant evidence that indicates that in the actions taken by Alvin Bragg and the verdict that came down yesterday and all of the other nonsense trials that President Trump is facing, there is real evidence, substantially so, that we can see whereby these things are catapulting President Trump right back into the White House. Millions upon millions of patriots now awakening to the work that has to be done. And it must be done at your local levels of government, my friends. This is what I mean by determined patriotism. Get involved in your county politics wherever you live, especially volunteering in the next election. Be observers at the election polls. Run for county office. Run for city office. Run for your county board of commissioners. Run for your school board positions. Run for board positions on your local community college campuses. Run for state Congress. Run for state Senate. Run for sheriff in your county. Volunteer to walk neighborhoods and door knock for true conservative American candidates. All sorts of things that are right there on the horizon of hope await us. If we just have the stamina to do what I call the hard work of determined patriotism. You have world leaders out there noticing what's going on. The Italian deputy prime minister yesterday on X posted solidarity and support for Trump, victim of judicial harassment and in a process of a political nature. In Italy, we are sadly familiar with weaponization of justice by the left. And in Hungary, their Prime Minister Viktor Orban, let the people make their verdict this November. Keep fighting, Mr. President. And in the United Kingdom, the Brexit leader Nigel Farage, the verdict is a disgrace. You know, ladies and gentlemen, one of the ironies here in all of this is that the radical left are providing a cure for their colleagues who have been plagued with Trump derangement syndrome. And the cure is their actual behavior on the radical left. The weaponization of the American justice system and how they've contrived it and aimed it at President Trump is the cure for rational, intelligent, and intellectually mature liberals across the country. They're seeing this and going, this is not what I signed up for, folks. And they're leaving the Democrat Communist Socialist Party. And now President Trump, because of the verdicts that came down yesterday, has become a political martyr. And he has all but solidified now in the eyes, minds, and hearts of the American people his ascendancy back to the presidency. We all went to sleep last night with lumps in our gut because of the verdict. But as today dawned on us, together we face the new post-conviction pathway and world by which President Donald Trump will ascend back to that high office. We see, ladies and gentlemen, what so often conservatives recognize in the face of adversity, challenge, and tragedy. And I'm going to talk about that when I come back from this break, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with me. And in the meantime, please remember, DougBillings.us. Head over there. Click on the support tab at the top of the page. DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. I'll be right back.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Welcome to the My Pillow 2.0 commercial. Miss Makeup.
Well, you look good.
And action.
You're sleeping even better. We've got the best pillow ever. My Pillow 2.0.
It's a great name for a
Huh?
Good. Cut. We got it.
Welcome to the set of the My Pillow 2.0, the most amazing pillow in history. That new technology, you still have the My Pillow's patented fill, but now we have new technology we didn't have back when I invented My Pillow that's going to help you sleep. It's absolutely amazing, and you're the first ones that can check it out. Go to mypillow.com, use the promo code on your screen, and we brought back the buy one, get one free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Right Side with Doug Billings, standing shoulder to shoulder with you as I lead you to the wonder, joy, and hope that is America, and that is the MAGA movement. Do not be afraid. Challenge, adversity, tragedy. They hit every one of us in life. They hit our country from time to time. They hit the world from time to time. The advantages that conservatives have is that we have perspective, and that when challenge, adversity, and tragedy strike, we understand and we know that within those moments, blessings are waiting to be born in all of those situations. And the blessings are being born from this sham trial and the verdict of the kangaroo court by the truckload. The active hand of God, shaking us to the core, awaking us, kicking us in the gut, beckoning to us, calling to us, and demanding us into action to protect his divine providence, to recognize it, and to recognize the intent of the founding fathers. All of these things are what we see as conservatives when we look and work our way through adversity, challenge, and tragedy. Yesterday was a dark day. There's no sugarcoating that. Tragedy, adversity, challenge. Blessing, waiting to be born. There will be more blessings that will be obvious. The appeals process when Trump is vindicated through all of this. So all of the people now, and bookmark these posts on your social media accounts, the ones that are bloviating and talking about how President Trump is now the convicted felon, former president, and so forth. Okay, he is right now those things. He's a convicted felon right now. But it's temporary. When he is vindicated, make sure that you circle back with these whack jobs on social media and remind them, just as eager as they were to refer to President Trump as a felon, former president, remind them now that they should also refer to him, once he's vindicated, as the falsely accused and vindicated former president. Make sure you do that, because that's what he will be. All of his rights will be restored. Well, he can't even vote for himself. Ha, ha, ha. All right, fine. Maybe not this year. We'll see. If they impose the sentence before the election, we shall see. But after the appeals process is finished, rights will be restored. Temporary, ladies and gentlemen, temporary. We are in a nightmare. I've been talking about this for the last 4 years, since the day I started the show. The radical left Commune Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is not a pro-America political party. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. All you have to do is look and see what their politics, their platform, and their policies have enabled within this republic. They are not pro-American. Absolutely not. You cannot be a Christian or a person of faith and be a Democrat. Absolutely not. I'm not the first person to say that. My friend Father James Altman was, and he's right. But we know, as conservatives, the radical left view us as the enemy. Who represents us? President Trump. That's why they're going after him. Easier to go after a single target than multiple millions, right? Right. Do not lose sleep over this. Work hard. Get out there and work your backside off. Get involved in your local level. Don't worry about Washington, D.C. Change never really begins in Washington, D.C. Change begins at your local level. We have got to get true American MAGA conservatives elected to office and run for and get involved with your local Republican committee men and women and their groups within your counties, wherever you live. Make sure that these Republican committees institute a vetting process whereby we can vet Republican or people who are claiming to be Republicans so they can get their name on the ballot. And do not allow people to get the name on the ballot who are simply rhinos, Republicans in name only. And there are lots of them. This is a key problem. It's one of the reasons why we are in this nightmare today, because there are far too many rhinos in the process. Vet them. Do not let anyone who's not a true conservative be able to put an R behind their name and register to be on the ballot as a Republican, because they are not such. It takes work. This is determined patriotism. You hear me talk about it in the show. It's one of the monikers of the show. I tell you and I remind you that we meet, you and I. We meet in determined prayer and in determined patriotism. Determined patriotism is hard work. Being involved is tough because you, good conservatives, you go to work every day. You work hard. It takes a lot of energy to come home after a long day at work and go sit through a 3-hour school board meeting, for example. It takes a lot of work to go walk the neighborhoods and canvass the neighborhoods for conservative candidates. It takes a lot of work to plan to go to meetings for Republican committee members throughout the week and the month. I understand it and I get it, but we've got to engage. And your local level is where the change begins to happen. President Trump will prevail. I want to end where I began. We woke up, we went to sleep last night with a knot in our gut. We were kicked in the gut by this verdict. No matter how much you prepare for a nonsense kangaroo court, it still hurts. The verdict does. I get it. We admit it. We say it out loud. Now, the thing we know is also that this is temporary. It will be overturned in the appeal process. As I mentioned earlier in this show, it's almost, and I'm sure this is not the case, but it's almost as if this judge in New York wanted to do such a terrible job so as he would be overruled in the appeals process. He made so many judicial mistakes, as have been recounted by almost every legal analyst in this nation. This will be a slam dunk appeal victory. Now, again, it might not get the appeal victory in New York, but once we go to the next level of appeals, it will. And clearly, I mean, when it finally gets, if it does, to the Supreme Court, I think it's going to be overturned long before the Supreme Court is needed. But if it does go to the Supreme Court, we're almost guaranteed of a victory there. And then it is when we need to worry, because when there is an acquittal involved here, and there will be, the radical left mob is going to act out. I've said this in other shows, and recently as just last week. You know how the radical left liberal mob behaves when they don't get their way. They have pallets of bricks and stones delivered to street corners, and they encourage their minions to riot and commit anarchy. So be aware and brace yourself, but work hard, be faithful, and be hopeful. Because you, as true American conservatives, understand that blessings are born from moments such as this, from moments that involve tragedy, adversity, and challenge. You know blessings are on the horizon. You're seeing them already. Believe it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older. And it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Liveyoungerwithdoug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372. And get over to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great. And so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.